let's practice the 3 different ways that we can find equivalent fractions. I'll start with the example 1/3. One way to find equivalent fractions is to use a drawing of an area model. So in this example, you would draw some sort of simple area model. I'll do a circle. And you would show your fraction, in this case 1/3. And then you can continue dividing each section of the area model, and that will show you equivalent fractions, as long as you're being careful to divide each section equally. So I'm going to take the 3 sections and I'm going to divide each of those in half. I still have the same amount colored in, so I know it's still an equivalent amount. But now I have 2 sections shaded out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6 because I can see it's still the same amount. Then I can do it again. Divide each of these evenly in half. Still the same amount shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4 sections are shaded out of a total of, I'll start counting in this clear one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections. So that's one way that you can find equivalent fractions. Clearly, eventually, it's going to become very confusing to tell and make sure that you have the right number of sections and to color it in, but that is one choice that you can use. For the next way, I'm going to actually use graph paper. I'll use 1/3 again. We call this method the fraction race. And this will be very helpful when we start adding and subtracting fractions. So we like to get some practice with it now. So here I'm going to actually use the graph paper to help me. So I'm going to color in 1/3 of my circles. This shows me 1/3. If I repeat that again, 1/3 of the circles are still colored in. I've just done it 2 times. And this new fraction is 2 out of a total of 6. 2/6. This method you can just keep on going for as long as you can fill on your graph paper. Now I have 1, 2, 3 circles colored out of a total of 9. I'm going to run out of room because of my words, but you could continue the same pattern over and over. So let's try another one down here. Let's say we're going to do 3/4. So I'm going to color in 3 out of 4. There's my 3/4. Repeat the pattern. Another 3/4 gives me a total of 6 shaded out of a total of 8 circles. And you can keep going. Now we have 3, 6, 9 shaded out of a total of 4, 8, 12. And we can clearly see our pattern of multiples this way using the fraction race, because multiplying is another way to do it. So if we start with our 1/3, again, we can multiply this fraction times anything that equals 1 whole. So for example, I can multiply this times 2 halves. 2 halves equals 1 whole. And we know when we multiply something times 1, it stays the same, which is why we're going to end up with an equivalent amount. As long as we're multiplying times the same number with our numerator and our denominator, we will always have an equivalent fraction. You can use any numbers that you want. So we can do 3/3. There's our 3/9. We can multiply times 4 on both numbers. There's our 4/12 that we got with the area model. So you have 3 choices: drawing an area model, multiplying, or doing the fraction race. Any of them can work if you're careful and you do it carefully and correctly.